Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. This is a story. I live in South America, Colombia, and I'm in a city called Cartagena. And I was in the streets on my way to eat, and it was already Maghrib time, so I thought I might as well pray since I'm it's Maghrib time. It's time. So basically, I found a Burger King on the side of the street. They're usually McDonald's and Burger King are perfectly located somewhere that you can use them for something else other than food. So I went to the restroom, washed out, made my wudu, and then came out, found a parking lot, and on the side just found an empty spot, and I decided to pray just on the empty spot without disturbing anyone. After I was done praying, I looked around and I found this security guy looking at me, and he's like, "What the heck is he doing?" So I went back and I explained to him nicely in Spanish, like, "Hey, I was praying, saying my oraciones, just prayers," and he's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." He didn't really understand what I was saying, and I left. I went and grabbed a bite on the other side of the street. 5 minutes later, I found security forces right at the table where I was eating, and they're like standing, a guy and a girl, a man and a woman standing right in front of me, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" So like, "Hey, qué pena, señor," and they looked at me and like, "Stop food, stop eating." So I dropped the sandwich and was like, "Hey, what's up?" And there's like, "Why do you have a radio on?" I had work radio basically on me, and he's like, and I was like, "Teléfono del trabajo," which basically means it's just my work phone. And they're like, "Okay, so are you from here?" I was like, "No, I'm not from here." So, and they looked at me, "So where are you from?" I was like, "I'm Egyptian." So, and they're like, "What are you doing here?" "I work here." And then they started asking me questions, and they said, "Hey, did you walk to Burger King?" I was like, "Oh, okay, makes sense." So you're here because I was in Burger King. I went to Burger King. I went to the baño, and it's like baño means a toilet. And then after that, I went to the parking lot and I was praying. You've probably never seen a Muslim pray before, so that's why you're questioning. Is that right? And they're like, yes, sí, señor, sí, señor. So I was like, so does that answer your question? They're like, "Oh, qué pena, señor. I'm sorry, qué pena means I'm sorry." And then they're like, we didn't know. It's just that they don't know what you're doing and things like that. And they were really super nice. They were just not trying to be smart or anything. They didn't know what was I doing. What's this guy doing, touching the ground 5 times, or what is he doing? And then he had this radio on, so they got suspicious and they came and asked me. But once I clarified it, and they're like, "What's that in your bag?" And I opened my bag, there was nothing, about a couple of books or something, and that was it. So they're like, "Qué pena, señor. Okay, go back to eat. We're sorry. They just didn't know what you're doing." And they were really nice and left. So why am I saying that? Basically, there's 1 out of every 5 people on this planet that pray 5 times a day. If the 4 other people out of the 5 don't know what you're doing, what this one person is doing, it's because this one person is really not sharing his story or her story with the world. So I thought you can educate the other 4 about what you do 5 times a day. They can become less suspicious. They can learn from you. I'm not saying preach or anything. It's just by practicing it, they'll know what you're doing. You don't have to do it behind doors or feel ashamed that you're doing something like that. It's part of your religion, part of your faith. The other 4 would not mind it. So that's basically just the story. Pray anywhere. Also submit your stories or something like that, pictures of you praying anywhere on prayanywhere.com.